God, South Africa is currently leading the corruption and thieving Olympics around here. I mean, this week we've got three great stories. We've got the Steinhoff situation, which is continuing to devolve. You know, Marcus Jooster's pals over at... Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good timing. Marcus Jooster's pals over there at mattress firm in the United States declaring bankruptcy this week. I mean, ludicrously large numbers of stores over there. Everyone knew it was a boondoggle. Somehow or other they paid $115 million, more than anybody else, percentage-wise, in order to buy that crappy asset. Now it comes out that Jooster, in fact, phoned his friends in the days before the Steinhoff thing collapsed and told them to get out of the stock. Maybe they can catch him on insider trading. That'd be nice. But at least the Steinhoff debacle only resulted in losses for rich people. You know, like shareholders of Steinhoff who got wiped out. Here we have the VBS scandal breaking in the Limpopo province, where a whole string of fixers were arranging bogus deposits into the bank, which the bank staff, like all of them, basically just helped themselves to, in addition to paying all sorts of bribes. This case, it's the poor gogos in the province who are losing out. Plus, of course, municipalities who should never have been depositing money with VBS in the first place are now out of pocket, which means less service delivery, again, for poor people. So this stench reaches all the way through to political luminaries like the Shivambu family, as well as those associated with President Jacob Zuma. A whole lot of the fraudsters were shocked, horrified, and disappointed when NDZ was not appointed ANC leader in December last year. That tells a story too. And then finally, we find in cases like these that every time we scratch the bottom of the barrel, it's actually just the lid to another barrel. Finally, we see the case of the Auditor General of the South African government, Kimi Makwetu, announcing that for this year, the one that's just passed, the total value of wasteful and needless and fruitless expenditure in the government sector is now 50 billion rand, more than the 45 billion last year. You know, it's just like we keep electing hyenas to look after the goats, and then we are surprised when the goats go missing. You know, there's something fishy about this story that's going around about the Chinese intelligence operatives who put some tiny little funky extra chip on the motherboards that were going into servers that were being sold to Amazon and Apple. The story itself was broke by journalists at Bloomberg, which is intriguing because they're not normally some, you know, fake news rag. These are serious journalists. They reckon that Chinese manufacturing, I don't know, people got involved and they manufactured this little... Next thing it's ending... First of all, the FBI in the US says it's bogus, it's bullshit, there's nothing to the story. Amazon and Apple say it's complete bullshit, there was no such thing in any of their chips. But the company Supermicro, which made the motherboards that went into the service, says, well, you know, maybe. And that share price is absolutely tanked. So, I don't know, it's probably bullshit, but just as a precaution for the time being, my general advice would be don't do anything on the internet which you wouldn't be happy if Xi Jinping and the censors at the Chinese Communist Party knew about. Speaking of bullshit, you see this story about Banksy's artwork. Yes, Banksy, the famous, irritating UK art worker. He's got that thing which is the little girl with the balloon that's flying away. So there she is. She's busy being sold in an auction. The next thing, the price comes through. It's finalized. It's like £1 million. £1 million worth of artwork. Suddenly, out of the blue, the artwork starts shredding. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Fabulous timing. Lovely, delicious. So the artwork starts getting shredded by the frame. My God, apparently Banksy himself built the shredder into the frame so that as the auction thing went off, it started slicing itself as it came out the bottom of the frame. Now, look, I don't know. It's probable that all this publicity is going to result in that particular artwork being worth even more than the £1 million that it sold for. But as a postscript to this story, apparently art dealers and gallerists from around the UK have been receiving calls from people who own other Banksy artworks asking whether they would get more for theirs if they were cut up as well or put through the shredder. You know, rich bored people with too much time on their hands. What idiots. Just because one of them got, you know, cut up in a performance art situation doesn't mean you should take your Stanley knife out and start cutting up your original artwork. You know, really, why don't you just take your dick out and put it in a shredder? Come on, people, think about it. All you're doing is destroying your valuable asset. Right, finally to India for this last story, where there is a enormous, savage and very fearsome female tiger, codenamed T1, who is terrorizing the population of a small town called Pandharkawada in Maharashtra province. That's in the center of India. I checked it out on Google Maps. It's in the middle there, next to Nagpur. Anyway, the tigers there are not doing too badly, but the problem, of course, is their natural habitat is being shrunk. So the ones that are left are damn crafty. This one has eaten 13 people in the last 6 months. They've tried everything to try and catch this tiger. Apparently, the problem is that once tigers get a taste of human flesh, they never go back, so to speak. Apparently, humans in India taste particularly good because of all the spicy food that they eat. I don't know, I'm going to have to take your word for that one. And in any event, this particular case has gone all the way to the Supreme Court in India because killing tigers, hunting them with live ammo is in fact, totally out for conservation purposes. But they've decided this one in fact has to go, T1. That's it, that's the end of her. So, I don't know, the latest trick of the Indian authorities is to put traps out with horses, live horses, and then they sprinkle the area around the horses with Calvin Klein Obsession cologne. Apparently tigers absolutely love this stuff because it contains, I don't know, some kind of secret civitone stuff which comes from the musk organs of a civet, and it's irresistible to tigers in particular. I don't know what you think, but it reeks of desperation if you ask me. Desperation, not obsession.